What if I told you that the driver who just proved everyone wrong is about to lose everything all over again? Liam Lawson clawed his way back from the most humiliating demotion in modern Formula One history, and now, just months later, the ground is shifting beneath him again. Stay with me, because by the end of this video you're going to understand exactly why insiders are whispering that his time in the Red Bull family could be running out faster than anyone expected, and why the man responsible might not even be racing in Formula One yet. Let's rewind for a second, because you need to feel just how brutal this story really is. Lawson was handed the ultimate prize at the start of 2025, promoted straight into the senior Red Bull seat alongside four-time world champion Max Verstappen. It was supposed to be his moment, the payoff for years of grinding through junior categories, reserve duties, and late-night simulator sessions most fans never even hear about. It was supposed to be his moment. Instead, it turned into a nightmare. 2 races. That's all he got. 2 races before Red Bull pulled the plug and shipped him back down to the junior team. No points to his name, his confidence shredded in front of the entire world. Live, on camera, with millions watching. Most drivers don't recover from that. Most careers just quietly fade out after a blow like that, buried under whispers of, "He wasn't ready," and "He never had what it takes." But here's where it gets interesting. Lawson didn't fold. He went back to Racing Bulls and he fought, race after race, clawing back respect, one result at a time, grinding through a car that behaved nothing like the one he'd prepared for over the winter, until by the end of 2025, he had genuinely forced Red Bull's hand and secured his seat for 2026. It felt like redemption. It felt like the comeback story F1 fans had been begging for, the underdog narrative that this sport doesn't hand out very often. And for the first 7 rounds of this season, that's exactly what it looked like. Lawson has been sitting 10th in the Drivers' Championship, delivering 28 of his team's 41 points almost single-handedly, comfortably outperforming what most expected from him, and doing it with a quiet, steady consistency that's a world away from the shaky rookie who got dropped a year earlier. This is the part where you'd think the story ends happily, right? Wrong. Because here's the twist nobody saw coming. Just as Lawson is proving himself all over again, reports are surfacing that his seat for 2027 is already being quietly threatened, and not by a rival driver already on the grid. The name you need to know is Nikola Tsolov, a Bulgarian teenager tearing up Formula 2 this season, currently sitting second in the championship, and according to insiders, very highly regarded inside Red Bull's junior program. Tsolov isn't some unknown either. He won a Formula 4 title back in 2022, finished runner-up in the 2025 FIA Formula 3 standings, and needed just 3 races on a late-season F2 cameo to score his first podium. In other words, he's exactly the kind of prospect Red Bull has built its entire reputation on, rushing to the front. Some sources are now suggesting Lawson could be little more than a pawn in a bigger game, his current strong form being used as leverage to pressure Red Bull into fast-tracking Tsolov into a seat for 2027, the exact same brutal calculus that saw Lawson himself parachuted into F1 after barely any experience. Do you see the cruel irony here? The system that once burned him might be preparing to do it to someone else, using his own success as the excuse. Would you have made the same call if you were running that junior program? Because if this is true, it means no amount of results on track may be enough to guarantee Lawson's long-term future with this organization. And that should terrify every driver in that pipeline, not just him. This is genuinely one of the most ruthless aspects of Formula One that casual fans rarely talk about. And if you're new here, make sure you hit subscribe, because we break down exactly how these power plays inside the paddock actually work, week after week, long before the mainstream media catches on. Now let's talk about why this hits differently for Lawson specifically. Remember, this isn't his first brush with this kind of uncertainty. His entire junior career has been one long audition, bouncing between reserve roles, late call-ups, and constant scrutiny, all under a program that was, for years, run by the notoriously ruthless Helmut Marko, a man who built his reputation on discarding talent the moment it stopped being useful. Go back and look at how many young drivers passed through that system and simply vanished from the grid within a season or two. Lawson has openly admitted that living under that kind of pressure for so long actually toughened him up, helping him block out the noise during last year's nail-biting wait to find out if he even had a seat for this season. A wait that reportedly wasn't resolved until just days before the season finale in Abu Dhabi. But toughness can only take a driver so far when the decision isn't really about performance at all. And that's the part fans are genuinely furious about. Because if the reports are accurate, Lawson could deliver a career-best season, outscore his teammate, outscore former rivals like Yuki Tsunoda, who's managed barely a third of Lawson's points total since moving to the senior team, and it still might not be enough. Think about that for a second. This isn't 2025 all over again, where a 2-race sample size sealed his fate. This time, it's 7 rounds, 28 points, a driver clearly delivering, and yet the ground beneath him might already be cracking. If you're an F1 fan, doesn't that make your blood boil just a little? Here's a quotable one for you. Write this down. In Red Bull's junior program, results don't buy loyalty, they only buy time. And that's the uncomfortable truth Lawson is living through right now. Let's put this in context too, because F1 history is full of cautionary tales just like this one. Think back to how quickly Red Bull moved on from previous junior prospects the moment a younger, hungrier name showed promise in the feeder series. The pattern repeats itself almost every couple of seasons. A driver earns their seat, performs well enough to survive, but never quite well enough to feel safe, while somewhere in Formula 2 or Formula 3, the next name is already being groomed as the threat waiting in the wings. Lawson has essentially become both the cautionary tale and the man trying to defy it at the same time. But don't skip this next part, because there's one detail that changes how you should read this entire situation. Sources close to the paddock describe the mood around Lawson's future as still leaning in his favor for now, with genuine belief inside Red Bull that he's earned real consideration, not just tolerance. In other words, this isn't a done deal, it's a battle, and Lawson still holds real cards, especially if he keeps outperforming expectations for the rest of the season. Every strong qualifying session, every point scored in a car that isn't always the fastest on the grid, chips away at the argument for replacing him early. If you miss the next few races, you're going to miss the exact moments that decide this entire story. Because every point he scores from here directly weakens the case against him, and every mistake, however small, could be used to strengthen it. Stay with me here, because this is the part most highlight reels completely skip over. This isn't just about lap times and podiums, it's about narrative, about which driver the team wants to be telling stories about heading into a new season. And right now, that narrative is still being written in real time, race by race, in front of all of us. So here's your takeaway. Liam Lawson's career is a lesson in what it actually takes to survive inside one of the most cutthroat driver programs in sports. And it proves that in Formula 1, redemption is never permanent. It's rented, one race weekend at a time. Let us know in the comments, do you think Red Bull should protect Lawson's seat no matter what, or does youth always win in the end? And while you're down there, tell us who you think deserves the next shot if this seat does open up. Solov, someone else entirely, or Lawson himself for another year. If this kind of behind-the-scenes power struggle is the type of story you love, make sure you're subscribed, because we're covering the next major seat announcement the moment it breaks. And trust me, this one is going to be even bigger than people expect, because whatever Red Bull decides next could reshape their entire driver lineup for years to come. Because at the end of the day, Liam Lawson didn't just fight his way back into Formula 1, he's fighting to stay there, against a system that never really stops testing him, and the scariest part is, he might not even see the next blow coming until it's already landed.